And I made a decision last night and I'm dying for it.
All these handouts, man, it's getting out of hand.
Ooh, got one tonight. It's your boy Willie B. We got another review. It's a legend, R.I.P. This person is a pillar. God brought me to this moment somehow. It's the man, the overweight lover. It's hard to do that. Every day in the boys. We're going back to a year called 1987. In 1987, I was not on the earth yet. I came in 90, so this is before my time. I have heard of Heavy D. Yeah, I've heard some of his albums. Who don't know the overweight lover? You know what I mean? He kept dancing in the culture, and he was a big guy. That's that. It's the Jamaica in him. They don't give a damn. R.I.P. man. I'm super duper excited about tonight. I get to just sit back and listen to one of the greats put it down. For me, this is like homework. The album is called Living Large. This is the story, right? Like you coming from absolutely nothing to like spitting bars on a corner about your hardships and joking on people and like talking shit, and then the world hears it, and then you with zero money in your pocket become a billionaire. Rags the richest story. This man lived it. Uptown Records. The more I study hip hop, the more I learn that these hip hop labels is like all subsidiaries of one mother load. Universal is usually the mama. As you trace them back, it's Universal Music Group, Universal Music Group, Universal. It stems right up to but man, did we get a lot of hip hop out of this. Just looking at the credits of it is crazy. Like, we talking Teddy Riley, Andre Harrell. There's too many RIPs on this album. RIP to Andre Harrell, another pillar in this game. A lot of love to Andre Harrell. We talking Molly Mall. This looks like the cream of the crop from my knowledge of hip hop. Never hearing this album. I don't know who DJ Eddie F is, but I feel like I know who you are from my soul. I know you're a big deal, but I'm just discovering it. So yeah, we got 13 tracks on our hands of Teddy and Molly Mall and Heavy D and the boys. Goddamn, I'm happy about this. This is gonna be a good time. Uptown and MCA is a joint venture. Their first album as a group. I think they did a branch out because the Heavy D I'm familiar with, Solo, Waterbed Hev, Heavy D. Before that, I don't know. And from Jamaica, he moved to Mount Vernon, New York, which I've never been to Mount Vernon, but I heard they money earning. As usual, I got my blunt rolled, and let's get it. I'll explain it one more time if you don't know how. I listed for 7 key components. The album concept and the theme. Artwork. To production is number 3. Creativity. The replay value. Impact. The impact to the game. The impact to the culture. Lyrics. Lyrics are very important because they hold power and they're scribes. It's like the Bible. That's why I look at it, rappers like really just people of the Bible. Really the old school. A lot of these new school rappers is freestyle rappers, so they'll just come up with it on the spot. It's a little different from writing. It's 2 different powers, but the same monster. I'm very biased on this first song off rip. I have to say, because I am familiar with who Hev is. Never heard this album, but I do know this song. I'm 30 years old. This song has reached me. The overweight lover is in the motherfucking house. It's just one of them songs. Hev, come on here, just he a Mac. He a Mac. Off rip. He not even worried about the niggas listening to this shit. He know dudes gonna listen to this. Right now he just gonna smack at the girls. Like, it's what every man just wanna say. We all wanna look good. Especially when we talking to the girls. We gotta peacock. We gotta show the feathers. You know what I mean? We gotta show that sauce. I don't know what the sample is on this. It's got a super jazz influence. It brings so much like different texture to it. If you have an appreciation for jazz, this is a record that you're gonna be like, oh, this is a catchy tune. If you far away from hip hop, but if you're kind of close to it, you'd be like, it's that dope shit. It's safe to say that's a classic record. Nike leads me to believe that this was early in Nike. This is '87, so Nike was starting to really wave. And if I remember from watching the last Pants doc, this might have been around the time when Jordan was like creating Nike. The shoe deal was always very close to hip hop. Run DMC did Adidas, so Hev was probably looking at it like, let me jump over here on Nike. You got Jordan. You know what I mean? This is the time to hop on some shit like that. It's black marketing at its finest. A very intelligent young black man who maybe knows or maybe don't know that he is putting a brand on his back by putting these messages in young people's ears about these Nike. He is spitting rhymes about how Nike's influence his life. He's creating culture right in front of you on this record. And this is what Heavy D is a genius on. The way he say his words in repetition. So if you haven't noticed that there's a power in artists saying the same thing over and over again, but the way that Heavy D did it on Nike, he does it in this rhythmic Jamaican shit that we might take that today in hip hop as just we do that now regular, but like for him to do that then is crazy. The way you be like, I want to say that like that. So you gonna say it. You gonna repeat what he's saying, whether you like what he's saying or not. That's the coldest thing about hip hop, you know. It's because I can make you say something by the way I say it. The way this song come on, the vibes I get immediately, the movie Class Act. That's one of my favorite movies. I think of that shit. I just think of that movie. This is one of those times where you talk about BBWs today. Hev was putting it down for chubby niggas at this time. And you chubby and light skin. I don't even know if light skin niggas was necessarily in. I think they was just coming in around that time. Chubby always had a fight. Chubby never was a shoe-in. He repped for the chubby. Hev was early in the game on that shit. You know, you don't get to your Rick Rosses. You don't get to your big puns until you get through Heavy D. I'm chubby but funky. He shouted out Bruce Lee on this. Bruce Lee is vitally important in hip hop. If you do not know that, this is a lesson. Bruce Lee is the attitude that a lot of our early adopters who even created hip hop took in that energy of him. He gave a lot to hip hop that was at the early goings, just as early as James Brown was involved with it. He's a forefather of hip hop. And if you don't understand that, you need to go to the school of hip hop. It exists. It's a real thing. I'm not shooting that out my ass. What people would say is trying to make a crossover record. This is what I would consider a record that's an attempt to that. I don't even really call it that, but I understand it's really just what white people would listen to, what they could tolerate of this genre. Yo, I can appeal to everybody. Like, it's a part of the repertoire. You want to switch it up. You want to make something different. You want to make something for everybody. You don't want to get stuck in a box. That's the thing about artists. You know, everybody want to put you in a box, but you never want to be in it. Had to go piss real quick. I've been sipping that Debbie Down. Get my bearings. Let me get my bearings back. I might say, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's something about the hook that I like. Maybe it's just that early energy. Whoever it is singing the hook, I kind of like, stay, yeah, yeah. He kind of got like a little something going with that. You know, I gotta compare the nigga. I always gotta compare everybody, even people I love. I'm sorry, I hate when niggas compare me to other niggas, but on this particular record, not the whole album, to make that clear, just right here, it feels a little Kumo D. It's some niggas who changed the fucking game, and we all gotta kind of bite sometimes from 'em. He's talking about, real stuff. When a girl's playing the game and it comes back on her. When you first start listening to it, you're like, okay. Like I rated it a 5 because I rate every single song. I don't tell y'all that, but I do on the low. You gotta wait for a song to sit on you. That's why you can't judge things too early. And that's why judging artists is tough. Off just some artsy, fartsy, technical nerd shit. Teddy Riley is carrying this record for me. It's tricky. It's slippery is what it is. So to critique it, it's crazy. Teddy Riley is like probably, I feel like my soul is somehow attached to his because of the music he makes. That New Jack Swing, that influence, all of that shit, man. What Teddy do is he corners you. He puts you in a corner. You just think you listening to a record and you just gonna have a little good time, but then he corner you like, nah, nigga, like, nah. You hear that? You feel that? This record is basically about what you do if you're dedicated to somebody. What happens on each side of that coin. He's speaking knowledge on this. This is what hip hop is made of. When people hear your record, they're supposed to learn something. Either two things. You need to either reveal your character or you need to teach them something. Two ways this go. Those are your two routes.
Yo, Heavy D's in fact, I'm sure. Absolutely.
I absolutely love the way this song starts. It's so dope. Hev in the space of like introing a song or outroing a song, Hev is a master. It's got a show tuney vibe to it. And trust me, I'm all of that. I'm all show tuney. I'm all musical. But I'm certain musicals. I'm very like particular in my musicals also. And he's tapping kinda into a, I wouldn't say full show tuney thing, but slowly kind of creeping there. I love that attempt to creep there. Even though I love the live aspect of it though. It sounds like he's in front of a crowd and it's very real. Whether it's not a, I don't know the truth, but it seems like he's in front of a crowd. This feels like that Big Biv DeVoe uh Snatch. This sound was different at that time, and I wasn't there at that time, but I have a sense of what it was. Niggas has always been making a dance to go with their song. The money sample. The money sample has been sampled so many times. I've actually never heard this particular sample of this record. And I dig the sample. It's very different. It's very like Teddy. I love the second verse on this joint. He just reflecting on the block and the way he kicking this shit on here is just some early Heb, yo.
I'm gonna make you love me.
This nigga's from Jamaica for sure. If you didn't know, it comes out in this record. With Heavy's flow right here, you can see some early, Run DMC influences, but Heavy D is taking it in a whole nother lane because Heavy D's voice is so unique. That's what separates him from the pack. He could say a cadence that anybody can use, but it's different because it's coming out of his voice box. Listening to the sample of this Michael Jackson record, I don't love it, but it's creative. If I can try to tap into that time, I'm sure it was not a whole lot of people who had flipped that record like that. I don't love it as much, but it's definitely creative as fuck. I couldn't have done that. It will win you over as the song goes on.
500,000 on my records. We're selling go. That your party go. And DJ
I love the message. You know, who don't love to get paid? Definitely that old school boom bap. And then they just talking that I'm getting paid. Girl, I got 3 Bugattis. I got 8 Bugattis. Matter of fact, I sold 8 to get 15 more. Bitch, that type of swag going on in his ad libs on this joint. You know, a big part of hip hop is stunting. We got to stunt on our records. You know, it's prophetic. This is what we want to be. We want to have that much money to be able to just piss some away. And really, it's just subtle rock. He's not just diving completely into rock. 'Cause at this time, this is probably a newer thing. I know Run DMC did the merger with Aerosmith, so he was like, "Yo, I think I heard a frog in that joint." Whoa. I can see Teddy saying, "Yo, Marley, yo, throwing a frog, bruh, throwing a frog." The end of that kind of give me vibes of all around the world the same song. Mm. I love his energy on this one. You could tell Hev was like, "Yo, I'm gonna ride the fuck out of this beat. It feels good. It's a good feeling." And this is the last song of the project, so it's for them to kind of mellow it out with this, and then have come on talking like some love, some sappy like love shit. Some like the Neptunes could have been involved with this one, cause on old school records they used to just talk. The ballad just be playing, and they just say, "Girl, you my flower." You know, they hit you with some shit. I'ma just talk to you. You know what I mean? Say a couple words, put something in your ear. Like, you know, like I say to him, I'm gonna mack you down in this corner. I just wanna say something to you. Let you know something. Smooth touch for the heavyweight lover. That's how I would expect him to end some shit. Album concept and theme. The name of the project is Living Large. The records that I heard on this joint reflected that title. Felt different, no matter if I love it or not. But the concept and the theme of it was definitely like, we're coming up. We coming into some money. We just got into this rap shit, and we about to come up. That's the spirit of this project. Um, that's the theme of it. That's why it's called Living Large. If you ain't never had nothing, and then you get something, you living large, and you gonna flex. It's not very deep, but it's real. It's very real to the experience of coming into the game. So I have to at least acknowledge that. And at base level, I have to get that a passing grade of 7. Artwork. I love the colors of it, you know, the yellow and red schemes, you know, the colors. I love bright colors, so that always appeals to me. And they look dope. I mean, they cool on it, you know. My man Heavy with the hat, with the bucket and the frames, and then he just got the squad out there. Gladys Knight and the Pips, you know, it was that motto back then, you know, where it's the lead singer, of course, he's spitting all the rhymes, and then these are my boys, you know. It's dope, not a super abstract thing, you know. I definitely give that a 7. Production, I mean, it's a lot to say. It's hard to critique such a great person like Teddy Riley. It was high level production from a point of creation. You know, I don't feel like a lot of the sounds that he produced in this record was produced before him. You know, it's not my absolute favorite. I'll put that out there, but there are very key moments in this where it's like, whoa, these are moments of like new creation, pure creation, a lot of creativity. You look at Heavy D, and he is a super creative guy. I mean, you know, he's a very unimaginative dude, and he paints pictures. He has him on ad libs and leading into songs. You know, it's like this young guy coming in with all this creativity and animation, and then you have a young Teddy Riley coming in a beautiful baby, for me personally, I will have to give it a 4. It's because as this is very innovative in some of the chances and choices that it took. It's not a whole lot of records on there that has a lot of replay value, but there are records on there that do. It's just a couple. It's just a few, you know what I mean, that I will honestly keep in my Rolodex. That I always give 2 records that are the top records, the standouts. The 2 standouts from this one is the Mr. Big Stuff record. It's a remix of the original, but the way he brings his energy on that record, it matters. And the number 1 song on this record definitely has to be The Overweight Lover. It's the one that's been used in movies. The one that's, it's no way around it. It's the hardest song on this record. Replay value 4. I think it definitely put Mount Vernon on the map. Heavy D was different. He came from Mount Vernon, but he showed a different side of Mount Vernon. I think he was just showing his range, and that's why he got somebody like Teddy to open up that range box with this new sound. He used Heavy to establish his sound more, because it's groundwork for what is that sound, and so this is like another album you could jump to understand what the New Jack Swing sound is. Definitely have to give that a 7. Oh, sweet lyrics. This is a flex album for Heavy D. Heavy D just wanted to flex. I'm guessing he had just really started getting money. He just started getting a look, and so them bars reflected it. He make talking about women and getting money, dope. He make it fly. You don't feel like hating on him when he spit his bars. You feel like supporting him when he spit his braggadocious shit, and that's a special gift. A lot of artists don't have that. Some artists, you listen to him and you be like, I'm jealous of this motherfucker. Like, but have you listened to his rhyme? Yeah, have, get that shit. And I want to get it too, but have, you can get it with me. He's slippery. He's slippery with his lyrics, and that's why I've always fucked with him. He appealed to me when I was a kid with his wordplay, because he knows how to flex a beat, and Heavy D is the flow, one of the flow masters. If you ain't look at Heavy D, you don't really know how to flow. And it's not even evolved Heavy D. This is early off the block Heavy D, a code 7. And I say a code 7 just because it's early Heavy D. And I've heard better Heavy D lyrics and cadences. I respect the cadences that's on this album because you can see that he was great then. The results are in. This album received the score of 49, which on the system makes this album a good album. It's right at the cusp of a good album. If it would have got 1 point less, it would have been an album that's got to grow on you, which puts it in kind of that gray area album. It made the mark of a good album. And I think the reason why it did is because it's so strong in its early production of greatness. It's just the early version of something that changed the game completely. It's definitely standout records from this album that is alive and well today. Shout out to Teddy Riley, shout out to Heavy D, and shout out the boys. R.I.P. Heavy D, but shout out the boys. I don't know what the boys is, but shout out to the boys. And shout out to Jamaica. The overweight lover in the overweight lover. It's your boy Willie B. If you didn't like the review, I'm sorry, but I gave my most honest opinion. And guess what? I want to hear what you think. I want to hear why you didn't think I was on point.